The Boeing 737 MAX series was a response from Boeing to the Airbus A320neo family with new engines and significantly improved efficiency. Just like the next generation series, the MAX offers 4 different variants. The first of them, the 737 MAX 8, was launched in 2017 with Lion Air subsidiary airline Malindo Air. Following, the stretched version MAX 9 entered service in May 2018. The shortest version, the 737 MAX 7, was expected to be launched in 2019 with Southwest Airlines, but the airline deferred the order. It is still planned to be the launch customer. This variant is still waiting for its certification, which is expected to be sometime this year. The latest variant announced by Boeing in 2019, the MAX 10, is also waiting for certification, but the manufacturer does not seem to be very confident about it. After a 20-month grounding and recertification period that came to an end in late 2020, the Boeing 737 MAX is now a common sight in the world's skies once again. Data from chaviation.com currently lists 642 examples from the Boeing 737 MAX family as being active. However, when you consider that this figure is just a fraction of almost 5,000 total orders for the series and the MAX 7 and 10 are yet to service, it is clear that there are plenty more to come. It has now been around 18 months since the narrow-body re-entered service. Now, in mid-2022, Boeing's VP of Commercial Marketing, Darren Holst, summarized its post-recertification use figures as follows. There are now over 630 737 MAX aircraft in service with about 45 airlines. Since December 2020, the fleet has accumulated over 1.5 million flight hours in revenue service, accumulated over about 600,000 revenue departures. That's over 2 hours per flight in terms of average length. The MAX's resurgence has been helped by the fact that after a lengthy period of coronavirus-related uncertainty, the world of commercial air travel now seems to be back on the up once again. Flight-starved passengers have been returning to the skies en masse, and airlines can't get their MAX aircraft back in the air soon enough. In this regard, Holst explained in a presentation recently that we're closing in on 2,500 daily departures. When you talk about what airlines value, they value the efficiency that the aircraft brings, but they also value reliability. The 737NG has been the gold standard for reliability in the industry with a 99.7% schedule reliability. Right now, we're closing in on 99.6% with the MAX as we get more and more aircraft out of storage in the service. Specifically, the schedule reliability for the 737 MAX given by Boeing at the time of the presentation was 99.55%. As well as getting the MAX back into service, airlines have also been keen to add more examples of the next-generation narrow-body to their order books since its reintroduction. Carriers are confident in the recertified jet, with Holst explaining that since its return to service, there were over 1,000 gross orders for the 737 MAX, including at least 7 new customers. The specific total for post-recertification orders stands at 1,015 aircraft. 410 MAX jets have been delivered since the type returned to the skies, including the first examples of the high-density version. Indeed, Holst confirmed that there are over 70 of those aircraft in service with Ryanair. After an uncertain few years, the MAX certainly looks set to make full use of the post-pandemic travel boom. Boeing is currently lagging behind on several of its projects. Dreamliner deliveries have been halted on orders from the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA. The 777X program is running years behind schedule, and the 737 MAX 7 and MAX 10 aircraft are still awaiting recertification. But at this year's Farnborough Air Show, Boeing announced Qatar Airways as one of the airlines to order the MAX 10. Boeing will be delivering 25 units to the Middle East-based carrier. Delta Airlines also have placed orders for the jet. These deals, while likely including backup clauses, put more pressure on Boeing and the US government to reach a solution that will allow the MAX 10 to enter service with its current cockpit design. The reforms and new standards for the cockpit will come into effect at the very start of next year. Thus, if the FAA has not certified the Boeing 737 MAX 10 by the end of the year, the aircraft will need significant system redesign under the current legislation. The manufacturer will have to upgrade the flight deck, so the MAX 10 will have a different crew alerting system than other B737 MAX variants. Pilots will have to receive separate MAX 10 training, and switching between the MAX 8 and MAX 10 will not be as simple as airlines want it to be. After the two fatal MAX crashes, the US Congress passed legislation that requires aircraft certified after December 31, 2022 to comply with current Federal Aviation Administration crew alerting regulations. Bloomberg reported that Boeing had around $16 billion of MAX 10 orders that may be jeopardized if the aircraft is not certified in its current design. It listed significant MAX 10 customers as Ryanair with between 100 and 200, Delta Airlines with 100, and British Airways parent IAG with 50. Other reports suggest United Airlines is interested in taking more than 250 MAX 10s out of the 365 B737 MAX it has on order. The MAX 10 is already 3 years behind schedule and rapidly losing ground to the Airbus A321LR. One saving grace for Boeing is that Airbus has close to 6,000 A320 aircraft in backlog and has to add more production capacity to meet customer expectations. That means big customers like Ryanair, United Airlines, and Delta Airlines have few options if they want a single-aisle aircraft to carry 230 passengers. Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun threatened to cancel the 737 MAX 10 program in the beginning of July unless the US Congress agrees to give the aircraft manufacturer a waiver regarding these mandated changes. In a recent interview to Aviation Week, he stated that, "If you go through the things we've been through, the debts that we've had to accumulate, our ability to respond or willingness to see things through, even a world without the MAX 10, is not that threatening. The 737-10 is a little bit of an all or nothing. This is a risk I'm willing to take. If I lose the fight, I lose the fight." Like a lot of programs at Boeing, timelines have slipped. Earlier this year, Boeing confirmed the MAX 10 was unlikely to reach certification stage by the end of 2022 and asked for a waiver from Congress. So far, that waiver has not been forthcoming, although some US senators have indicated a willingness to do so. However, Boeing has become a hot-button political issue in Washington, and other influential politicians are not against cutting Boeing any slack. Calhoun believes their case is persuasive enough and publicly remains upbeat about the MAX 10's future. However, his comments about axing the program also represent a rare bit of pushback from Boeing's boss. Now the company is leading a large-scale recruitment drive for engineers seeking to complete the certification processes for its upcoming aircraft and meet increased customer demand. The Arlington, Virginia-based organization is hiring hundreds of new engineers as it works with the Federal Aviation Administration to certify its upcoming Boeing 777X aircraft alongside the MAX 10 and 7. Fortunately, things seem to be on the way to improving for Boeing, as Dave Calhoun expressed optimism that the worst was behind, with the major issues of the 737 MAX and the 787 now stabilizing and about to deliver great results. In a very confident tone, he summed up the scene by saying that the MAX is on track and is performing for customers, in many cases exceeding their expectations. Also at Farnborough Airshow, not only did they announce a great deal with Qatar Airways, but they also secured an order for 66 aircraft from its 737 MAX family. The customer in question is Miami-headquartered investment firm 777 Partners, whose purchase includes both the MAX 8 and MAX 8200 variants. The 66 aircraft signed by 777 Partners brings its total commitment with Boeing to 134 firm orders. Another huge order announced at Farnborough was from Delta Airlines that ordered 100 MAX 10s with options for 30 more. Delta has a significant number of older aircraft from the Boeing 737NG family in its fleet. Despite this, until today, it was the only US Big Three carrier not to have begun flying or even ordered any aircraft from the Boeing 737 MAX series. To make things even better for Boeing at the airshow, VietJet signed a rehashed agreement with the aircraft manufacturer, reaffirming a previously announced order for 200 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. The Vietnam-based carrier had previously signed an initial deal for the Boeing 737 MAX in 2016 during a visit to Vietnam by then US President Barack Obama. This deal was increased at the Farnborough Air Show 2018 when VietJet signed a memorandum of understanding for an additional 100 aircraft. The 2018 agreement included 80 Boeing 737 MAX 10s and 20 737 MAX 8s and was valued at more than $12.7 billion at then-current list prices. A year later, in 2019, the order doubled the total to 200 aircraft as part of VietJet's consistent growth. This same order is now being reiterated 3 years later to showcase the airline's commitment, which some may have doubted due to the past couple of years of prolonged crisis. The first 50 aircraft will be delivered to Thai VietJet, the affiliate company of VietJet and one of the leading domestic carriers in Thailand. As part of the agreement, Boeing will commit to supporting VietJet with technical services and training to ensure the best levels of affordability, efficiency, and reliability. It seems that even with all of the certification issues, things are now starting to get better for the company, especially after the Farnborough Air Show. What has helped Boeing is that the demand for new generation narrowbodies is extremely strong, driven by the lack of capacity at airlines. In turn, this has increased demand for the 737 MAX, which Kaloon said allowed Boeing to manage its risk regarding the undelivered aircraft. For the second quarter, Boeing reported an operating profit of $774 million, well down on the $1 billion it reported in the same period last year. Correspondingly, net profit fell from $567 million in the second quarter of 2021 to $160 million this quarter. For the first half of the year, Boeing had revenues of $30.67 billion, an operating loss of $395 million, and a net loss of $1.1 billion. In the first half of 2021, revenues were $32.2 billion, operating profit $940 million, and net profit $6 million. The bright spot was that in the second quarter of 2022, operating cash flow was $81 million compared to a negative cash flow of $483 million in the same period in 2021. Kaloon said that Boeing was confident it would return a positive cash flow for the full year of 2022. It does look good for Boeing in the second half of this year, which is good for aviation as a whole. What do you think about the future of Boeing? Tell us in the comments. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.